And it makes me.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
It makes you question what? Sorry.
I was going to say it makes me question with, any of these people, because you brought up Candace Owens earlier briefly, and I was going to mention her because she's been doing a lot of the questioning on Erica Kirk and all the stuff that happened with Charlie's murder, and I do applaud her for that, asking the questions that a lot of people are afraid to ask for the fear of heat and backlash and death, I guess now. But even at the same time, and I wrote you this in a private message, dude. Did you see that she brought Milo on her show?
Yeah, I saw that.
Why is she bringing this guy on her show? She didn't. First off, she didn't need to do that.
Nope.
She was already
Milo's a nobody. Nobody cares about Milo.
Well, I got to tell you, Ted, I made a short talking about that. After she did that, she had him on back-to-back episodes. Or they filmed one big show and made it into two. I don't know. But I made a short talking about that and even played the clips of Milo saying the horrific things that he did from Voris at Church Militant, when he himself was on Dave Rubin and was speaking about the eugenics with homosexuals, saying they have hierarchies and all that stuff.
Right.
And the backlash that I got from that short alone, people love this guy. Even when
they think he's changed now.
Yeah, exactly. First off, I don't believe him.
No.
I don't believe him. I think what's happened is he's been gone out of the spotlight for quite a while. Maybe the checkbook's drying up a little bit, or the bank account, is drying up a little bit. What better way than to get back in the spotlight with coming on a show like Candace Owens?
Absolutely.
And why Candace Owens or anybody would want to associate with this guy, knowing the stuff that he said. And I don't care. And listen, we talked about this in a past sit down when we were on one of the first two times. I don't care if he was drunk or not. Nobody, you don't just say that.
That don't mean shit.
No, because I've noticed, Ted, that when people are drunk, they tend to tell the truth a little more.
They're more open. 100%.
Yeah, because I can tell you, I've been drunk before in my life, but I'll tell you one thing. I was not talking about wanting to be with underage kids, and in his case, boys. No, I'm talking about who's going to go first overall in the NFL draft, or what's going to happen with the Cubs game in this upcoming series or whatever. Because I'm a big sports guy. Nobody just randomly says that about pederasty.
No.
But the point that I'm getting at is, why do people want to associate with this guy when they know what he said?
So strange. I actually looked up Milo just now, and I see that he was. I didn't know this. Well, I forgot that this happened. He was on Tucker's show 2 months ago, and it got 1.2 million views.
Okay, I didn't know he was on Tucker.
Yeah, he's on Tucker, and then how many views did the Candace Owens interview get? Let's see real quick.
If I had to guess, probably a million.
1.2 million for one video, and then in a separate episode that they did together, it got 1.3 million. So it looks like this guy's trying to make a comeback, and he is making something of a comeback. Now, the fact that Candace Owens and Tucker would bring this guy on is a red flag.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a straight up red flag, yeah.
And so my point is, I guess I've had several points that I'm making, but it makes you wonder, are there any of these people in the world of, at least in the conservative world of conservative talk media, that you can truly trust?
No. I'll say it right now. No, there is absolutely no one that you can trust who is in the mainstream world. Tucker right now is mainstream. Candace is now, they're sort of like alternative media. You can't use that anymore. They're all mainstream now. They are the mainstream. Yeah. And so you can't, I believe, now I could be somewhat wrong about this, but I think that when someone becomes very famous, I think that's a red flag unto itself. I think becoming extremely popular to the level of, let's say, Jordan Peterson is a red flag into itself. That's my opinion. And I did a video about this not too long ago, but I said, I don't trust anyone. They're all evil.
Yes.
I think they're all evil.
And I apologize, Ted. I have not had the chance to watch all of your videos.
It's okay. I'm not asking you. I'm not trying to push you to watch it, but I did a video about that. I mean, I do a lot of videos, but I did a video about this, and I said, I don't trust any of them. They're all evil. And I gave a few examples of this. Milo was one of the examples. I said, everybody was worshiping this guy. Milo. Everybody was worshiping him. And I was telling people, this guy's evil. Well, how do you know that? He's Skittles. That's it. That's all I need to know. The guy is Skittles. That is it. Turns out, Milo actually was pushing for pederasty. Oh, I was right. Yeah, the guy is evil. There you go. Done. Well, how did you know he was evil? Skittles. That's all I need to know. Guy's Skittles. That's it. And then you have Dennis Prager. Dennis Prager said this one thing on the Dave Rubin show about little boys, and I said, this guy is evil. That's it. He is demonic. I want nothing to do with him. He's satanic. Oh, but and all these people defending him. They're all evil. And so what you have, and this is what I keep trying to tell people is, yeah, the whole pro-Israel thing is done. I mean, it's on its last leg right now. It's done. And you have a few voices left in the pro-Israel movement. Okay, Ben Shapiro is using whatever clout he still has. You have, what's his name? Mark Levine. You got Coleman Hughes. Okay, you got some of these guys that are left. But the pro-Israel movement is a shadow of his former self. So what's going to replace it? Okay, so what's his name? Charlie Kirk was the last he was the last pro-Israel conservative superstar. That's what he was. He was the last pro-Israel conservative superstar. Once he's gone. So now you have there was already a new tide of conservative media that was rising up before Charlie was killed. We know this. We had Tucker, Candace, you know the gang. They were already rising up. They were already taking over. Once Charlie was killed, there was no one left in that world. In that Prager, pro-Israel, intellectual world, there was no one left. It was done. So the Tuckerite faction, Candace Owens faction, whatever you want to call it, just swept in. They took over, pretty much. They've taken over now. They're dominating now. So the pro-Israel movement is dying out, and what's going to take over? What's going to take over is right-wing nationalism stuff. That's what's going to take it. That's the future of politics, is right-wing nationalism. That is the future. And so is it going to be good? The answer is no. It's not going to be good. Why is it not going to be good? Because when something becomes extremely famous, extremely popular, in my experience, there's something wrong. That's my example.
One example, and I remember watching this. I forgot the name of the guy's show you're on, but you guys talked about this. Best time to bring him up. Matt Fuentes. Could that potentially be the future of
Fuentes and who else?
Nick Fuentes.
Oh, Nick Fuentes. Well, I think you see,
because people are getting behind that guy, and
yeah, they're getting behind him. But the thing about Fuentes is that I don't think he is really a sincere person. I mean, that's my belief about him. But yeah, I think Fuentes' popularity is most definitely a sign of what is to come. But do I think that Fuentes is always going to be around? I don't think so. I think eventually people are going to be disappointed by him for whatever reason. But yeah, I think that him getting pushed into the limelight, getting pushed into the mainstream is a sign of what is to come. And that is this popularity for nationalism. I mean, right now we're seeing the death of the post-World War II order. We're seeing America gradually shifting away from its pro-Israel policy, with America working more towards the interest of Turkey and allowing for Turkey to advance its interests, regardless of the fact that these interests go against Israel's interest. So we're seeing this paradigm shift taking place when it comes to America's foreign policy with Israel. So that's happening. And so America knows it. The powers that be know it. And America is just saying, okay, Israel is no longer really popular. So when we pull the plug on Israel, no one's going to care. And the other thing to keep in mind is you have two forces here. You have the Zionist force, but then you have the kind of the European nationalism force that's rising up. You have two different forces. And there's a biblical component to all of this that I can get into if you would like, but there's two forces that are clashing: pro-Israel or pro-nationalism or pro-European nationalism, right? Jewish nationalism versus European nationalism. And right now they're colliding. Tucker Carlson is more so in that American/European nationalism camp. Tucker Carlson will support far-right European nationalism. I have no doubt about that. And Tucker Carlson, in my opinion, I have a suspicion that Tucker Carlson is basically part of that CIA apparatus. I think his father was CIA, and I think he's a part of that NATO CIA apparatus. And he represents, I think, what America is pursuing. And what America is pursuing is a global nationalism, wherein these Western countries like America, like Germany, will become nationalistic and militaristic. That's what America wants right now. America wants for, and I've talked about this many times, but America wants for countries like Germany to rise up, countries like Turkey to rise up. And they want for Germany to revive its power, and they want for Germany to take over Europe. And that requires nationalism. That requires German militaristic nationalism. We're talking old school. What's that?
Basically another Reich.
Yeah, another Reich, exactly. So Tucker Carlson comes along and he says, well, what's wrong with nationalism? What's wrong with German nationalism? What's wrong with these nationalistic movements? And he's very popular. And one of the reasons why he's popular is because he supports European nationalism. And so I think that Tucker Carlson being very popular is a sign that what he is saying represents the current American policy. And I think that's reflected in the fact that if you look at the Trump administration's recent foreign policy paper, it says that America's interest right now, it says this quite explicitly, that America's interest right now is to work with countries that want to revive their former glory. And it was speaking specifically about Germany. So the policy of America is to revive European nationalism, specifically German nationalism. Tucker Carlson is in that boat. This is one of the things that he wants. So Tucker Carlson being pushed into the limelight, I'll just finish this one last thing, but sure. Tucker Carlson being pushed into the limelight and becoming very famous, and the pro-Israel voices like Shapiro, Hammer, Levine being pushed to obscurity is a sign of this shift that is taking place, wherein we're going from being pro-Israel to being pro-European nationalism, pro-American nationalism.
Well, I was just going to say, when he asks that question, Tucker, that is, when he asks the question, well, what's wrong with nationalism? There's a lot wrong with nationalism because there's a big difference between, I remember kind of getting this from you back in the day of like where to go look. There's a difference between nationalism and patriotism. Patriotism is the love for your country. Mm-hmm. Nationalism is what's best for country. And let's just put it this way. What's best for country, or what you think is best for country, is not good for the country. Mm-hmm. So let's just give a hypothetical here. If, I don't know, what to use? So if we're to say that, if let's say the government was to, which obviously is what they're trying to do, let's say that all firearms were made illegal. Is that good for country?
No.
I don't think that's good for country.
Mm-hmm.
So it's stuff like that. And there's a million examples you could use for that.
Sure.
Is lowering the marriage age to, 12. Is that good for country?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if somebody thinks it up, is it automatically good for country? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there is what's wrong with nationalism.
Right. So the problem with nationalism is that it basically says, I don't care what evils my country does, I'm going to worship my country.
Exactly.
This is a distinct from patriotism, which says, okay, what's good for my country, like you said. So that's the problem. And Tucker Carlson will be in that boat of big American voices supporting the revival of German nationalism. And what we see now is the disintegration of the Zionist establishment and the uplifting or the boosting up of 20th century style nationalism, wherein it's America first, or it's Deutschland über alles, Deutschland over everyone. And that's the future. It's Turkey over everyone. America is supporting Turkish nationalism, German nationalism. And that's why, for example, you'll see these stories of the AfD party, or Alternative for Deutschland party, which is the biggest nationalist party in Germany and currently is the second biggest party in the German government. But that's why you'll read these stories about AfD officials going to Washington and hanging out with the Republican Party. Well, why is the Republican Party hanging out with these AfD guys? And why is the Trump administration openly supporting the AfD? And why is J.D. Vance, the vice president, openly supporting the AfD? And then you look more into this stuff and you find out, well, back during the Cold War, NATO was all about literally arming and training and backing neo-Nazi paramilitary organizations in Europe because NATO wanted nationalism to be revived in Europe so that NATO could use that nationalism against the Russians. So this has been and this is, if you want to research more about this, look up Gladio. I mean, that's the name of that's the name of the policy, the Gladio Project or Operation Gladio.
I do remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. So that's the policy. That is the interest. And Tucker Carlson reflects that interest. So that is what's being pushed. And Josh Hammer and Mark Levine and Ben Shapiro, they're coming out and they're saying, hey, it looks like, maybe some kind of Nazistic stuff is coming back. And people are saying, oh, shut up, Zio. And the thing is that as much as I don't like Shapiro and as much as I don't like these other guys, when they warn about this sort of thing, they're right. Now, it's a fact that they're supporting Jewish Nazism or Judeo-Nazism. They're definitely supporting it. That's a fact. So they're hypocrites. But when they say that specifically, I mean, they are correct. That there is this sort of Hitlerism that is coming back from the dead. And it's only going to get stronger.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because in my own personal life, I've kind of experienced some of that from some people that I know. Like, I'm not going to say who they are, but just this evil way of thinking and this Nazistic way of thinking. Like, I brought up Fuentes earlier moments ago because a good friend of mine who I've known for years, not going to say who, of course, he probably doesn't even watch the show, but he was telling me things not too long ago, just a matter of months ago, about how because like he mentioned Fuentes in conversation, and he was talking about how Fuentes is saying this and that and so on, like talking about how the Holocaust really wasn't as bad as they made it out to be. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, it doesn't matter if it's 100,000 or 6 million. Too many is too many. That's still too many. Even if it was 500, it's too many. Mm-hmm. And so, when there was actually a couple of them saying this, like saying that Hitler was right and this, that, and whatever. And listen, I get the whole Zionism thing. I get the Jewish lobby thing. Mm-hmm. But there are Jews out there who are just regular people. They're not looking to kill people and control people. And it's like, come on, man, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. And then he was saying things about like, well, like in regards to black people, like we never should have gone to school with them and this and that. They make people dumber, and in regards to like test scores and all that. And I'm like, come on, dude. It's like, are you really saying this right now?
Yeah.
So the reason I bring that up, and if he sees this, he's probably going to hate me for it, but I don't care. This is just it's stuff that I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I mean, the stuff that I never thought I'd hear anybody say. To me, you think that this stuff that I heard, you would think like, oh no, that's not being said here. That's being said like, I don't know, in New York or California or wherever. You don't expect to hear it in your neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and that goes to show you it's going from the internet to the real. It's translating from the internet world to the real world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in your front door, in your own neighborhood. I've seen it myself in my own personal circles. I've seen it myself. I know a guy who I've known for decades, and he is now, I mean, he was raised to be a Zionist. He was a John Hagee fan for years. He's a Gen Xer. I guess you could say older millennial, bordering on Gen Xer. And last time I spoke to him, I was amazed. I was like, he hates John Hagee. He hates Zionism. He is reading on the Israel lobby. And he's telling me about how he's a Fuentes fan. I was like, damn, what a change. And so I've seen it happen to a number of people in my own personal life. So I know exactly what you mean. The whole Zionism thing is just it's about to just tatter or totter, and it's going to get fully replaced by nationalism. What America wants to do is a global nationalism. Turkish nationalism, American nationalism, German nationalism, French nationalism, Scandinavian, whatever, Swedish, whatever. That's what America wants. And they want to create a Turkish power to rule over the Middle East and the Islamic world. They want to create a German power to rule over Europe. And America thinks, okay, we can control these powers and we can use them for our own ends. We can use them to go against Russia, China. We can use them to go against our rivals, etc. That's what America is thinking. And it's going to be a project that's going to spiral downwards into an ocean of blood, I'm afraid, just like it did in the past. Yeah. So, So this is the future. So people think, oh, look, Zionism is going down. This is great. Yeah, it is great. But what's replacing it? What's replacing it is, frankly, some form of some repackaged Hitlerian ideology.
Yeah, it's not gonna get any better.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's basically the issues are just changing, really just changing addresses. If you will.
We're going from Judeo-Nazism to basically old school Nazism, where we have people revering Adolf Hitler. I mean, that's the problem. And I don't know. I think it's only going to get worse. I don't see this going away anytime soon. And now you have Germany talking about making nuclear weapons. I mean, we're going to have a nuclear-armed Germany that is militaristic and ultra-nationalistic at the same time. That's what we're heading towards. I mean, right now, nationalism is very popular in Germany, and the AfD is the second largest party in all of the German government, and it's also, if the statistics are correct, it's the most popular party right now. And this is a party that's ran by a guy named Bjorn Höcke, who used to write articles praising the Third Reich. So it looks the future is pretty weird, is what I would say.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, if this is led by a guy who used to write articles praising the Third Reich, I mean, that's just like, that's like, all these people here who really got into the craze of praising Ukraine.
Oh yeah.
But yet this happened. We know that President Zelensky gives a Medal of Honor equivalent award to a guy who was a Nazi war criminal.
Right. Yep. I remember that.
You tell them that. You tell these people who praise Ukraine because it's big, bad, evil Russia who's responsible for everything, for everything that bad that's going on. But they don't care about that. They don't care about the fact that Ukraine's president basically gave praise to a Nazi war criminal from World War II.
Zelensky gave basically the equivalent of the Medal of Honor in Ukraine to an old Ukrainian Nazi who wiped out a Polish village.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's massacred an entire village, and he gets an award for Zelensky, and he's called a hero. And again, and I'm glad you brought up Ukraine because, you see, Ukraine is ground zero for this Nazi revival that we've been seeing. It really is. It's ground zero. Because what happened in the Euromaidan of 2014? Okay, they said, oh, this government that was sort of aligned with Russia got overthrown, blah, 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 and Mr. Yanukovych was overthrown, and Poroshenko took power, and Poroshenko is this great guy. Poroshenko himself was a Nazi. Poroshenko himself was someone who sympathized with the old Ukrainian Nazi collaborators like Bandera and Shukovich, etc. And all of a sudden, you saw in Ukraine Nazis in positions of parliament, Nazis in prominent positions in the government, and the Euromaidan revolution that overthrew the government of Yanukovych was being backed by NATO, and the commandant of the Euromaidan was a guy named Andrei Parubi. Andrei Parubi is a neo-Nazi, an actual neo-Nazi. So you had a Nazi uprising in Ukraine that was backed by America and backed by NATO. People say, oh, Ted, America's not supporting Nazis. That's not happening. It literally happened in Ukraine, where Nazis overran the government. And these Nazis rose up. This Nazi paramilitary organization rose up called Azov, and they have other names like Right Sector or Svoboda, but they're all really pretty much the same thing. C-14, they're all the same thing. And the Azov guys are one of the most, if not the most elite fighting unit in the Ukrainian military. The Russian soldiers, I hear, fear them because they're supposedly very efficient. And the Azov battalion made a statement not too long after the Euromaidan. You had Andrei Belitsky, the leader of the Azov battalion at the time. And he said that Ukraine is going to be the center for the revival of European nationalism. This is what he said, that Ukraine will be this starting point where this European Renaissance would begin. And by European Renaissance, he meant Nazi revival.
And it's crazy. Do people not pay attention?
It began in Ukraine. Most people don't pay attention to this, but this began in Ukraine. And it began in Ukraine, and America was backing it. And you had John McCain going to Ukraine, hanging out with Andrei Belitsky, this neo-Nazi guy who says that Ukraine is going to be the starting point, the origin point for this revived Nazism in Europe. And John McCain is with Andrei Belitsky, and he's saying, I'm with you. And you had Lindsey Graham going to Ukraine saying, our fight is your fight. And he was backing the Nazis, supporting the Nazis of Ukraine. And America and Canada and the UK, they were all training the Nazis, arming them, the whole thing. And now you have Nazis in prominent positions in the military, and the Nazi power in Ukraine is so big and it's so well armed that the Ukrainian politicians are terrified of them. And an actual story, an actual example of this is when Poroshenko, when he was the leader of Ukraine, was trying to get the Azov battalion, I think, to integrate into the military or something like that. He was trying to get the Azov battalion to calm down. And Andrei Belitsky sends 10,000 armed neo-Nazis to the front of the Ukrainian parliament building in Kiev. And he basically tells Poroshenko, we can kill you if we would like. And Poroshenko backed off. So people say, oh, but the Nazis, they don't win elections. They don't have to win elections. There is a Nazi leader in Ukraine. His name is, I think his name is Yevhen Karas. And Yevhen Karas gave a, let me just make sure I got the name correct. Hold on. Yeah, Yevhen Karas. I was correct. Yevhen Karas. Yevhen Karas says, basically, we don't need to take office to have power in Ukraine. He says, we already have the power because we have the guns. And that's all we need. This is what Yevhen Karas says. That's all we need. And he's right.
Yeah, it's not just office where you can have power.
No, ultimately what backs political power is the end of a gun. What backs laws? What backs anything? What backs anything that you want to enforce? Guns. Violence. Violence is the foundation for all law. Well, morality is ultimately, but the imposing of law, the imposing of any rule set is founded upon violence. It's founded upon the idea that if you don't do this, I can kill you or punish you in some other way. That is power. And Yevhen Karas comes along and he says, we don't really need to run for office because we already have the power. We have the guns. We have the military experience. When the pro-Russian separatists in Donbass took over government buildings in eastern Ukraine after the Euromaidan, who defeated the Russian separatists or the pro-Russian separatists? It wasn't the Ukrainian military. It was the Azov battalion. It was the neo-Nazi paramilitary fighters who fought and defeated the pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine. So those people have power. They have real power. And they're very influential. And the thing is that even though the Euromaidan was backed by a bunch of Nazis and the muscle of the revolution was the armed Nazis, not the unarmed protesters. And the fact that America backed this Nazi uprising, that Germany backed it, that Britain backed it, the fact that the German government, you can look into this, and Scott Horton shows this in his book, Provoked. The fact that the European Union gave millions of dollars to a neo-Nazi organization in Ukraine whose whole mission it is to try to get Ukrainians to revere Nazi collaborators like Stepan Bandera. All these facts show one thing, and that is NATO, the European Union, America, does not mind reviving Nazism. Yevhen Karas, the neo-Nazi leader in Ukraine, who I told you said that the Nazis don't really need political power because they have guns. Yevhen Karas last year went to the United Kingdom. This should have been a bigger story. I mean, I'm surprised that it didn't really get a lot of attention. But Yevhen Karas was in the United Kingdom, and he did a speech for Chatham House. Chatham House is this big think tank organization in the UK. It's backed by the UK government. It's basically some British intelligence front group, but they're supposed to be this prestigious think tank organization in the United Kingdom. And Yevhen Karas goes to the United Kingdom and he speaks for Chatham House. Why would Chatham House, which is supposed to be this prestigious British government think tank organization, bring a neo-Nazi thug to speak for its organization?
That's highly suspect, and that's putting it lightly.
Yeah, if there is no NATO interest in reviving Nazism. This is like when Ronald Reagan brought the Islamic Mujahideen from Afghanistan to the White House. Why did Reagan meet up with the Mujahideen? Because America was backing them. Why did the United States government meet up with Syrian rebels, jihadist rebels? Because America was backing them. Simple as that. So why is Chatham House in the United Kingdom working with Yevhen Karas? Same reason why John McCain was hanging out with Andrei Belitsky in Ukraine, because this is what NATO is backing, Nazism.
Yeah, there's obviously some kind of support there.
Yeah. So this is what America wants. And so we see the pro-Israel stuff is going down. We think, oh, this is great. Yeah, it is great. Don't get me wrong. I don't like Israel. I think Israel is evil. It's Judeo-Nazi, whatever. But what's replacing it? What's replacing it is ultranationalism. And the problem is that we're living in this post-Christian era wherein Christianity doesn't really have much influence over people. So people don't really have this awareness. They think, oh, this is great. Oh, this is nationalists in Germany. Oh, this is amazing. Well, what happened to all that history that we were taught? What happened to all of the Hitler documentaries that we saw growing up watching the History Channel? All that stuff is for nothing. Sadly enough, people don't really care about history.
That's a big problem. I mean, it's like I said earlier, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
And that's the path we're on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess history is just too inconvenient for some people.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is, and I don't know if this equates to what we were just talking about, but yeah, in my opinion, you have too many people that they really care more about quote unquote being a part of something. Mm-hmm. They want to feel like they're with it. They're with the next biggest thing, and you try to tell them like, this is not so good. You're not a rebel. You're not a rebel. You're making a mistake here.
You're not a rebel. Yeah.
You're not fighting for a good cause. Mm-hmm. Like for example, all the stuff going on with ICE and these people trying to kill police officers from the BLM movement and stuff. You're not a part. Well, you are a part of history, but for all the wrong reasons. Mm-hmm. And that's what I've noticed with people. They care more about being part of a clique, and thinking that they're a part of something important when they're really not. They just want to be a part of something, or right? Like they are.
Well, they have a belief. Right, they're angry about something. They're angry about the left or the Democrats. So they're looking for people to follow. They're looking for someone to get information from. In comes the podcasters.
Yeah.
And sadly enough, the evil ones are the ones who become famous. Why that is? The devil is the king of this world, I guess. He's the ruler of, or the lord of this world, as the Bible says. So the ones who become super famous are the evil ones.
Well, you were definitely right on that about that kind of influence. And I'm not necessarily saying he's evil. I'm not putting him in that same equation. But how many times have I heard, and you probably said it, or you probably heard it too, how many times have I heard someone say, "Oh, well, Joe Rogan said this," or "Joe"?
Oh, Rogan. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen that before. I've heard that before. Yeah.
But not just him. He's just the prime example because he's probably the biggest one out there right now. Mm-hmm. But now again, I'm not specifying any names or who they are to me, but I had someone else very close to me say that, "Oh, well, I heard on a podcast someone said that cocaine can't actually kill you, unless it's laced with something." The cocaine is the lace.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could? And I said to this person, how could you even think that? How could you think that cocaine can't kill you?
I don't know. I've never done cocaine.
But it's just I haven't either. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out that it can kill you.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, it can give you a heart attack or something.
Yeah, but I've heard it so many times. I heard somebody on this podcaster say, or that podcaster say. I'm like, are these guys full of infinite knowledge? No, I don't think so. I mean, Joe Rogan might know plenty of things, but he doesn't know everything.
Yeah, I don't really like him. I've never liked Joe Rogan. I've always seen him as some sort of a psyop. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to add on to your point. The funny thing is, I'm not a big fan of his either. I mean, has he had some guests on where it's been intriguing listens? Of course. Of course, I'm not going to deny that. But the funniest thing is when remember when he was busted for when someone went back 7 or 8 years and heard him say the N-word on one of his shows, and he got a lot of flack for that. I think he had some funding pulled or whatever. Well, everybody was so ready to defend him. And the funny I'm not talking about that. I mean, so okay, he said the N-word years ago, whatever. But what I'm getting at is so many people, like so many conservatives, Republicans, they thought he was one of them. And he's not. This guy is as left-wing gets.
Mm-hmm. Rogan, you're talking about Rogan?
Yes, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, Rogan. I mean, the guy is just a liberal. I mean, I think now he's saying more Christian stuff. But the fact is, like, I heard Joe Rogan saying something recently about how, well, maybe Jesus Christ is going to return as an AI projection. And I saw that. I said, this guy's evil.
Yeah.
Well, he's a Christian now. He's not. You see, this is the problem with American conservatives, is that they're always looking for someone famous. Always. Well, the only famous person that I really admire is Mel Gibson. I admire that dude. I do. I admire. Braveheart's the greatest film ever made. I Will Die on This Hill. It's the greatest movie ever made. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
But people say, "Oh, well, he's on our side." Christians are always looking for a celebrity who's going to be on their side. They're kind of not. They're not kind of. They are. They're sycophantic in this way. I remember when Tim Tebow was very famous.
Yeah.
And they were saying, "Oh, Tim Tebow, he's our guy," and nobody talks about Tim Tebow anymore. Oh, I remember when you had all these celebrity pastors back in the day, Louis Giglio and Matt Chandler, and you had what's his name, Mark Driscoll, and all these other guys. Like, oh, they're famous, superstars. They're always looking for someone famous. Bill Maher says some things that Bill Maher will say a few things that conservatives agree with. Oh, look, Bill Maher, he's starting to see the light. No, he just hates Muslims. And the reason why he hates Muslims is because he hates religion. Doesn't matter if it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses. The guy hates religion. And him going against Muslims is just his way of expressing his anti-theism. That's all it is. The guy is a Jewish atheist. He's of the same spirit as Sam Harris and Vladimir Lenin and Lazar Kaganovich and the rest of the socialists, the Jewish atheists who killed Christians back in the day. But people say, "Oh, look, he said some things about Muslims." Okay, and so this is what I hate about American conservatives. Yes. I see this all the time. Well, Bill Maher said this about Muslims. Who gives a shit? You can hate on Islam and be absolutely diabolical. Just like you can hate on Judaism and be absolutely diabolical.
Yeah.
But these American Christians have, in this case, I mean, maybe they're better now. I don't know, but it just seems like they don't have enough discernment, no matter what. It doesn't matter how many times you tell them, "Hey, be careful." They don't care. No. So they see Joe Rogan, and he's the most famous podcaster on earth. And they see, oh, Joe Rogan is now kind of becoming a Christian. Oh, he's on our side now.
No, not really.
And then he's talking about AI Jesus. It's just a red flag, massive, very bright red flag.
Oh, you want to hear something just as ridiculous as that? A friend of mine, we were talking once about, the second coming and all that. And listen, as much as I love him to death, he's got some warped views on things, and I hate saying that, but it's just the truth. He believes the whole he basically believes the whole Bible code stuff. That Jesus and Mary Magdalene had a child. He believes all that.
Oh, stuff. He's like a Mormon. That's what Mormons believe.
Well, I think he's not a Mormon. He's not a Mormon. He's actually from overseas, but. No, he believes all of that Jesus had a child with Mary Magdalene. But anyway, as far as the second coming goes, we were having a talk about that one time. And he said that when the second coming happens, it's not going to be Christ himself. It's going to be a relative of his.
I don't know where people get these ideas from.
I don't know. But he also told me once that the stone tablets, he said they're not they're not in the ark. They're actually in a museum somewhere, and they're really, really small.
That sounds, I don't know. It's
diabolical. It's diabolical stuff. And I asked him, dude, I get that we have different upbringings, but where do you get these ideas? Like what podcasts or who are you listening to?
Mm-hmm.
And he never really specified, but he just claims he thinks for himself. And I'm like, I don't know if
he's a free thinker.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no such thing as a free thinker.
No, because it's influenced by something.
Mm-hmm.
All of us. And you're right. That applies to all of us. We all have something, everything that we believe,
mm-hmm.
it's based off of something.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get things from authorities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a free thinker. That's a myth that people believe. Like, oh, I'm a free thinker. No, you're learning something from someone who's an authority or someone who you think is an authority.
Yeah. You're just taking the next step.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing.
It's like social media. Well, it's alternative media. Well, what was once considered alternative media is really now mainstream media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I was going to say my beliefs. I'm a Christian.
Mm-hmm.
My beliefs come from God,
mm-hmm.
from Christ, and mm-hmm. I'm certainly not perfect, but that's where my belief system comes from.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, if you're a free thinker, then like you said, you're not really. you're not free. Just say where your beliefs are coming from.
Right.
Be honest.
Yeah, you can't just make up things. You learn things from authorities. There's no such thing as a free think. Whatever. I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
but it's just, yeah. With Rogan, bull crap. He's a Christian. Because no Christian in their right mind. Well, then again, we were talking about this earlier. Depending on what denomination it is, like Episcopalian or Unitarian, or really these fake Christian denominations. Mm-hmm. Who says that? AI Jesus.
He's a transhumanist. Joe Rogan is a transhumanist type of a person.
All right, I knew that. Yes.
Yeah. So being a transhumanist, he's going to apply his transhumanist beliefs to Christianity, just like Peter Thiel does. Peter Thiel is the same way.
And he's also a member of Sodom.
He's a member of Sodom, and he is also a German eugenist who believes in transhumanism, and he mixes his transhumanism with his weird Protestant evangelicalism. So he has these very sick beliefs, and Joe Rogan is part of that Peter Thiel sort of Silicon Valley world.
Yeah.
And he brought in a guy on his show. I forgot his name, but he brought this Jewish eugenist on. And this Jewish eugenist was talking about how we could make better humans with genetic engineering, and we can engineer people to be smarter and more intelligent. And Joe Rogan had this guy on his show, and this guy was spouting this social Darwinism and this eugenic stuff. It's amazing. I remember when I was in high school, I wrote a book called Insane's Footsteps.
I've been meaning to order that, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's a decent book. I can probably just send you the PDF form for it. You can just read it. But it's an old book. I wrote it when I was in high school. I wrote it when I was 14, 15. It's when I wrote it. And a big chunk of that book, probably the majority of that book, is me talking about eugenics. And when I was in high school, I remember writing that book and researching for that book and reading a lot about the history of eugenics and how it goes back to Darwin and Francis Galton, et cetera, et cetera. And I was reading about how these eugenists back in the 19th century and 20th century were talking about how they could genetically engineer new people and how they could breed people to be more intelligent and more athletic. And I thought, wow, this is pretty diabolical. And I wrote a lot about it. But then at the same time, I did not expect to see eugenics getting pushed right back into the mainstream, to the point where you can watch Joe Rogan and you can hear someone on the Joe Rogan show saying the same sort of stuff that they were saying back in the 1900s, late 1800s. And people thought, well, those old ideas, those old eugenist ideas of the 20th century are gone and they're outdated and no one really believes them anymore. But I'm afraid they're coming back. And Joe Rogan really has been at the forefront of reviving this evil.
Oh, well,
and so,
I can tell you when I heard him say something once before on an episode. Have you heard of the? I'm sure you follow the news, but do you know that swimmer, that Riley Gaines, who was with that trans freak, that Thomas?
Yes.
Well, I was watching the episode when he had her on, and there was a moment which is pretty good. She was telling her story, and no problem. But then he gets to a point where he's talking about, and he always does it like when he's talking, he's looking up in the air like this, and it's one of those moments. He's like, he said, I can't remember word for word, but he was like, you know what's crazy, Riley, is if we ever get to a point in the future one day where you could make a machine, a guy walks in, press a button, and out walks a woman. And I don't know, like there's something with that. I know everybody has their little ticks, but I noticed it with Rogan when he looks up in the air. Even something as small as that is like a red flag for me, because it tells me it's like he's almost like making up stuff as he goes.
Yeah. So I never really understood why people like him so much. I just don't. I mean, I think it's because one of the reasons why. Listen, I remember watching Joe Rogan before his podcast got world famous.
Yeah, he was on flex. He was on. So there was a show on Comedy Central back in the day called The Man Show. That's where Jimmy Kimmel and Adam Carolla started, and then eventually Rogan and some other guy took over. He was on there, and then he starts getting into comedy, and I think he had a few roles in some movies and shows and whatnot. But then, he eventually got on with UFC and doing the announcing, and now everybody knows who he is.
Well, the thing is that I remember watching his podcast before it became super famous. I was watching his podcast back in 2009, 2010.
Okay.
And he was talking about LSD, and his camera work wasn't the best, and it was kind of pixely. But then all of a sudden he got the good microphones, and he got the good cameras, and he got the good looking studio, and his podcast just blew up. But again, I mean, like he had this, Rogan kind of had this original idea of making a podcast set up the way that he has it set up. But other than that, I just don't see what the appeal is. Why is he so famous? I don't know. I think the whole thing's a psyop, and I think Joe Rogan is being used as a mouthpiece for the elites to promote eugenics. Because, like I said, the agenda is the promotion of militarism and nationalism. And remember what the Trump administration's foreign policy document says. It says, we want to work with countries that wish to go back to their former glory. And it was speaking in light of the German military. Well, when was the last time Germany had glory as an empire? It was the Third Reich.
Yeah.
Not glory in a good sense, but it was in the sense that it had an empire.
Well, you beat me to the punch.
Well, what did Nazi Germany have? It had eugenics. So the elites want to bring back eugenics, militarism, nationalism. That's the future. That's what they want to bring back. Is it going to succeed completely? Probably not. I think people obviously will rebel. People obviously will fight back against this. But I think there is going to be a comeback for these things.
It's going to have a presence, put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely.
My cat keeps wanting to come in and out.
Oh, I understand. Kitty cats are that way.
Yeah. We're just not getting off track here, but it's been a long ass 2 weeks because one of my cats, his name's Garfield. I don't think he's in here right now. But yeah, he had to have emergency blockage surgery.
The cat did?
Yeah. Because male orange cats, they're susceptible to getting blocked. And well, this time they couldn't get the catheter in. And he had to have emergency
when you say blocked, what do you mean?
Blocked urine, can't go.
Oh, the urine. I have 2 orange cats, so it's good to know.
Okay, yeah, orange male cats are kind of prone to it because we lost one a little over a year ago. He was also orange. And
how old was he when you started having these issues?
6.
Okay, and what? Yeah, go ahead.
Going to be 8 now.
What are the symptoms?
Lethargy, moving around, acting weird. sometimes blood in the urine, yowling while they're trying to go. So things like that. But that's he was laying under the bed just 3 weeks ago yesterday. He was just laying under the bed. It looked like breathing, but he was looked like he was dying. So 3:30 in the morning, rushed him to the vet, and he had the surgery, and he's doing much better now. But basically what they did was they widened his urethra so he can go easier, and so he's been doing pretty well. But yeah. So anyway, I digress.
That's fine.
We go from Nazism to cats.
To cats, yeah. Well, what's the symptoms for a cat having urine blockage?
Yeah, but I'm just saying it had been a long 2 weeks. So, but yeah, no, I agree. It's if it's not complete Third Reich all over again, it's going to have its presence. I mean, it has its presence now.
Yeah, and I think a massive sign of this was when you had the Berlin Security Conference recently, and Mr. Whitaker, who is America's representative in NATO, said that our goal, our vision, this is America's representative in NATO, speaking at the Berlin Security Conference. He said, our vision is to make sure, or is to see Germany dominate Europe. Now, he didn't say dominate, but he said to see Germany become the leading power in Europe.
That's telling enough as it is.
Yeah. That's their goal. I mean, they're saying it out in the open, and nobody cares, because if you tell an American conservative, hey, there's something wrong with this, they'll say, well, yeah, what's wrong with that? It's amazing. Countries have a right to have powerful militaries. It's like, yeah, okay, but look at the history. But that's the problem. They don't want to look at the history.
No. Let's face it, there's an agenda they have, or there's views that they have that they're obviously not going to tell us.
Yeah, Matthew Whitaker, that's his name. Yeah, he said our goal, our vision is to see Germany become the most powerful military in all of Europe. And not only that, he went further than that. He said, we want to see Europe become just as militarily powerful as the United States. Well, how do you have that without a massive German Reich? The answer is you don't. So they're going to want to make a massive German Reich. On top of that, you're going to have German nationalism. On top of that, you're going to have eugenics. I mean, it's just, they want to bring back the old Frankenstein that they buried. That's what they want to bring back.
Well, I'll tell you this much. You have people saying this country right now is nothing but Nazi this, Nazi that. They have no clue what Nazism is.
Oh yeah, fascist. This guy's a fascist.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, if you think Donald Trump's a fascist, which I have a guy at work who says this every damn day, you don't know what Nazism is. You don't know what fascism is. Go ask the people who lived in Russia, Italy, and Germany in the 30s and get back to me.
Yeah.
But it just amazes me how people can be so damn stupid. If it's by choice, by birth, I don't know. But all I know is what you're just saying right there. Just the emphasis on Germany is all that any sane person needs to hear.
Right.
And red flag.
Yeah, it's a massive red flag, and it's just you see it right in front of you. And every year it gets more and more obvious. Every year it gets more and more explicit. I keep hounding on this topic in my Friday live streams. Some people get sick of it, but I don't care.
I wasn't able to tune in last night, unfortunately, but hopefully it was a good stream. And
it was. Yeah, last night we had a good stream.
That's good to hear. And I got to apologize to you for one thing, Ted. When you got flagged on the AC/DC track, I'm sorry. That was me. I was responsible for it. I told you to play it.
What do you mean I got flagged?
I thought you got.
Yeah. Every time, that's why I stopped doing the music thing, because people would ask me to play these. Like, some people would ask me to play bands that are very obscure, so that there's no issue. There's no issue with copyright strikes and TOS and all that. But man, anytime somebody asked me to play some mainstream song and I did it, I get hit with copyright strikes.
Well, on our other show, I can't even make a highlight reel, like a season highlight reel from the previous season. I can't use the music that I want to use because of exactly that, copyright strikes. And it pisses you off afterwards too, because to put together a highlight reel, and you could apply this to anything, sports, political clips, music, whatever, take your pick. When it's a true labor of love and you can't upload it because of the stupid music thing.
I know. I know. I think it's ridiculous.
But yeah, no, 2 reasons for AC/DC for you to not like AC/DC.
What's that? Well, the AC/DC, the problem with AC/DC is that all the songs sound exactly the same.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah,
I'm giving you a hard time. But hey, as far as I'm concerned with music, we all have different tastes. Like I just like AC/DC. I just happen to grow up on them. Your big ones are what? Korn and Nickelback.
I like Nickelback. When it comes to rock bands, I like Nickelback. I like Linkin Park. I like some more obscure bands, but as far as mainstream ones go, old mainstream ones, Nickelback, Linkin Park. I like Three Doors Down. What else? When I was growing up, I really got into techno. When I was growing up in California and in Texas, I got into ATV or ATC. I got into Andre Tenenberger, Tiesto, Armin van Buuren. I got into Paul van Dyk. I got into a lot of European electronic musicians and groups. But as far as rock, I've always been a Nickelback fan. It's going all the way back to when I was in junior high. Always been a Linkin Park fan, and got into Korn a little bit when I was in high school. I still listen to them from time to time. What else? I can't remember all of the Three Doors Down. What else? Oh, Seether. I was a huge Seether fan when I was in high school. Huge Seether fan. They were what do they call that genre? Post-grunge band. Really big post-grunge band from South Africa.
Okay.
They're not as famous as they used to be, but they were very famous back in the early 2000s. And they made some really, really famous songs. And I used to love listening to them when I was a junior in high school, and just been listening to them ever. I still listen to them. Evanescence. I loved listening to Evanescence when I was in high school. I still listen to her from time to time, but I was a big Evanescence fan, and loved her stuff. Still do. And so yeah, Evanescence. Yeah, I love all that stuff. So great bands. Right now, as far as music goes, I've been listening to a lot of anime songs. I know it's so weird because I've never been an anime fan. I've only seen one anime movie my whole life, and that was it was an anime movie called The Second Renaissance, which I do not recommend anyone to see because it's so violent and so disgusting. But I remember seeing The Second Renaissance when I was in junior high, and I thought to myself, I will never watch an anime movie ever again. And ever since then, I've never seen an anime film, and never been a big anime fan. I've always seen it as kind of weird. But some of the music that has come from the world of anime, my goodness, I mean, it's really good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's something to do with maybe like the keyboard sounds or whatever. It's just there's something that it has a nice flow.
Yeah.
Like I think I know.
I don't know. Yeah, I got into a number of Japanese anime songs. I don't remember their names, but I have a playlist full of them, and I have now. I said a few, but it's a lot more than a few. I have right now hours worth of anime music that I've compiled together. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I have it right here. I have about 2 hours worth of anime music. I got Mukanjo. I got My Dearest for the Guilty Crown opening. Is that Pokemon?
I'm kidding. I'm just bullshitting.
Oh, I got Wind by Akeboshi, which is a masterpiece. I first heard this song. It's called Wind by this Japanese singer named Akeboshi. and they played this song "Wind" for I think like Naruto or some shit. I've never watched Naruto, but I heard this song earlier this year, and I thought, where the fuck has this song been my whole life? The song is a masterpiece. It's such a great song.
Well,
Can't stop listening to it.
You can't always expect it to make its way over here to the States. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
well, it's such a masterpiece of a piece of music. And then so I got Mukanjo, I got Wind by Akiboshi, I got My Dearest, I got the Tokyo Ghoul opening, I got the Call of Silence, Spire. I mean, there's so many different ones. I got Fireworks by Daoko, Voices of the Chords, Call Your Name. I got Through My Blood, Sanctuary. And then recently I got into Thai rock songs. And there's this band from Thailand called Sweet Mullet. I've never heard of them until last month. I can't stop listening to them.
You definitely have a wide variety of music. I can tell you that much. Which I'm not saying that I don't.
It's just very diverse. Yeah, I'm very diverse.
I'm just hearing this right now. I'm like, how the hell do you find all this? It's crazy.
YouTube so I saw this video on Instagram of these Indonesian guys, or one Indonesian guy, cooking in a kitchen, and then he's singing as he's cooking. And he's got these ladies behind him, and they're playing the drums, and they're playing the bass and the guitar. And he's cooking on the wok while singing, and he's singing this song. And I thought, that song sounds wonderful. I love this. What is this? So I did my research and found out that this song is by this Thai band called Sweet Mullet. So I thought, I'm going to listen to these guys. I found the song, found it on YouTube. Can't stop listening to it. Still listening to it. And I started listening to a bunch of their other songs. I just can't stop listening to them. They're a great band called Sweet Mullet. They're an amazing rock band from Thailand. They make very good music. And their style of music is very close to the style that you see in Japanese anime songs.
Okay.
I think they follow that formula, yeah.
Hey, I'd be open to giving them a listen. You can't be that close-minded, you know.
Yeah.
But speaking of anime, not getting off music or anything, but the last anime movie that I saw that I thought was really good was this movie called Spirited Away.
Mm-hmm.
And it's from
is that Japanese anime?
It's Japanese anime, yes, but it's from a well-known studio, like Ginobili. How do you say Ginobili or Jehobile Studios? I forget what it's, but it came out in 2001, and it's actually pretty good. It's not like a disgusting type war anime like you're talking about, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
This is about this movie is about a little girl who, not to give it all away, but she gets trapped in the spirit world.
You can tell me because I'm not going to see it. So go ahead and tell me.
Okay. Well, so this little girl and her family's moving, and of course it takes place in Japan. They get lost and they stumble across this old, I guess it would be like an old theme park, but what it really is it's like a bathhouse that's part of the spirit world. Mm-hmm. And her parents find this restaurant. They start eating, they turn into pigs, and now the little girl's trapped in the spirit world, and she has this guide that's helping her named Haku. Mm-hmm. And so to stay in the spirit world, she has to get a job, work, and it's just like, one of those typical mystical adventures. Mm-hmm. It's actually pretty good.
And so the pig, who becomes pigs?
Her parents. Because apparently in this world, if you don't have a job or whatever, you get turned into an animal.
And is there some kind of a conflict where like the pigs are going to get slaughtered sort of thing?
It's mentioned, but they don't do it.
Okay, because that shit would depress the hell out of me if I had to
No. There's nothing like that. There's nothing. Mm-hmm. There's no like murdering or anything like that. There's the evil witch who runs the bathhouse. She's sadistic, but not in like a violent. I don't know the best way to describe it. Like she's evil, but she doesn't follow through on the evil. She doesn't say she's gonna, like, the worst she says is, if you don't do this, I'll turn you into a pig as well. Because see, this movie was aimed more for like children.
I see. I gotcha.
And so yeah, this little girl becomes friends with, her guide, that Haku guy who is this witch's apprentice. She becomes friends with the boiler man who looks like a spider. And
I don't know. It doesn't sound like something I'd watch. It just sounds depressing. I think anime movies are just I think they're very depressing.
Yeah, well, it's not like I've watched a ton of them. I really haven't.
Right. I understand. I'm not judging you or anything. I'm just
no. You're right. You're right. They are. When you really sit back and watch, like the ones I've seen, like, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
But I will say this one does have a happy ending.
Oh, okay. That's good.
But yeah, so I mean, it's crazy where conversation's taking. We're talking about Nazis, cats, then anime music and anime movies. How does that happen?
I don't know. It's a flow of consciousness.
Yeah,
but I think maybe this is a good time to conclude it, I would say. Yeah.
Well, there was one question I did want to ask you.
Sure.
And this is one that I wrote you about too. But I'll share it publicly. I don't think you'll care too much. But remember when I sent you that message about that one podcaster, that Beckett Cook, who says he's a former sodomite, left the world.
Oh yeah.
Well, you see, here's the reason why I was asking you that question. And I know what you told me. Like if somebody says something right, then it's right. I mean, that can come from anybody who's good or evil. But these people, this is something I really want your thoughts on. But this is where I couldn't really spill it out. I was trying to think of how to word it, but I couldn't. But I've discovered how to. These people who say that they're former Sodom, do you think there's any way that we could ever walk side by side with them and fight the fight? Or do you think they're all full of shit?
I don't trust any of them.
And that's what I'm getting at, is because I saw one of this guy's episodes, and this was at the time when I wrote you. I saw one of this guy's episodes, and I'm like, man, I like what this guy's saying. He's really fighting against these people from what he used to belong to. But at the same time, this is where it got me wondering. He's saying all these things that you and I both know are true, and that's fine. Say something that's true. But at the same time, he's telling people, I belonged to this world once. I'm out of it now. But it's like you almost can't really trust him, because at the same time, he's saying all this, but he's not exactly going with women now. You know what I mean?
I don't trust them. Yeah, I don't trust them.
That's the point that I'm trying to get at is, man, you got these people who are doing all this, but you almost can't really trust them. It's like you want to get behind them and support them and back them and fight the fight with them, but you really can't.
No. Yeah, I agree.
Because it's like, look at Milo. He really hasn't changed. He can say that he's Christian all he wants, but we know he's full of crap. And I think,
agree.
Yeah, and I think this guy's full of crap too. I don't know it, but he's not really been in big time in the spotlight like Milo had. But I just think if you're going to show that you're out of that world, show that you've actually changed. Show that you're actually, trying to go with women now. And I don't know. I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I don't trust him.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I think you're right, Ted. I think this is definitely a good spot to call it quits for this evening. I appreciate you for coming on with me, especially after going. What do you go? Usually 6-7 hours every Friday.
Something, yeah. I've been 6 hours last time.
And now you're going 3 more hours tonight.
Yep.
But listen, man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Like I said, you have been a big inspiration for me for a long time, and not just you, but your dad as well. All I'm saying is you guys really influenced me a lot over the years to not be afraid to speak my mind, and I thank you for it.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for it. And yeah, so you keep doing your thing. You keep speaking the word on things, and well, I know the Charlie Kirk video got you a lot more subscribers, so don't you get too big on me, okay?
Okay. Well, I'm here, so we're good.
All right. Well, on that note, everyone, this has been Sean Moriarty and Theodore Shoebat for the first ever episode of the Open Tab podcast. So with that said, the tab is now closed. Everybody, have a wonderful evening.
All right.